My mom said, "You owe me." I said, "I owe peace." It came out before I even realized I'd said it. The silence that followed was heavy, like the air before a storm. She was standing by the sink, arms crossed, the same way she used to when I was a kid and forgot to wash the dishes. Only this time I wasn't 12. I was 31, and the argument wasn't about chores. It was about everything that had ever gone wrong between us. She'd just finished listing all the sacrifices she made for me, working 2 jobs, skipping meals, never buying herself anything nice. I'd heard it all before. I appreciated it, I really did. But lately, it felt like her love came with an invoice attached. Every visit home ended with guilt instead of warmth. Every phone call turned into a reminder of what I owe. When I said those 3 words, she froze. "Peace?" she repeated like it was a betrayal. "After everything I did for you, that's all you want?" I nodded because it was true. I didn't want to fight anymore. I didn't want to be the ungrateful child or the emotional punching bag. I just wanted quiet, space to breathe, to heal, to exist without owing anyone my sanity. She shook her head. "You sound just like your father." That hit me harder than she knew. My father left when I was 9, and for years, I promised myself I'd never be like him. But maybe walking away wasn't running, it was surviving. I left that night without packing much, just a duffel bag and my old photo album. I drove until the city lights faded in the rearview mirror, until the tears blurred the road. For the first time, I didn't call her to say I got home safe. I stayed with a friend for a while, then rented a small apartment near the lake. Every morning I'd make coffee and sit by the window, trying not to feel like a bad son. Some days I almost convinced myself I was. Other days, I replayed that conversation over and over. The way her voice cracked, the look in her eye. Not anger, but hurt. The kind that stick. I thought distance would make things easier. It didn't. I'd see mothers and sons at grocery stores, laughing, arguing over what snacks to buy, and I'd feel this ache in my chest. I started typing texts I'd never send. "Hey, Mom, remember that casserole you used to make?" Or, "Do you still water the garden every morning?" But then I'd stop, because every time I imagined us talking, it ended the same way, her telling me how ungrateful I'd become. I wasn't ready to hear that again. One night, I opened that old photo album. The first picture was of her holding me in the hospital, smiling like she'd just won the world. The next pages were birthdays, school plays, scraped knees, her arms always around me. I realized she never missed a thing. Every recital, every graduation, she was there. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. That's what made our fights so painful. We weren't enemies. We were 2 people who loved each other too much and didn't know how to show it anymore. Months passed before I got a call from her number. My hands shook when I answered. It wasn't her. It was my aunt. "Your mom's in the hospital," she said softly. "Heart complication." I drove 6 hours that night, every mile a punishment. When I walked into her room, she looked smaller, fragile under the hospital lights. She smiled weakly. "You came." I nodded, tears already falling. "I never stopped loving you," she whispered. "I just didn't know how to stop reminding you of what I gave up." I took her hand. "You don't owe me anything," I said. "And I don't owe you, except love." She smiled faintly. "Then we're even." She passed away 2 weeks later. At the funeral, people talked about how strong she was, how much she sacrificed, and they were right. But as I stood by her casket, I realized something else. She had spent her whole life giving, and I had spent mine trying to pay her back. Maybe that was our tragedy. We both confused love with debt. Now, when I visit her grave, I bring flowers and coffee. I sit quietly and whisper, "I found peace, Mom. I hope you did too."